Now have I got a stellar video for you guys today. You guys asked for cybersecurity stocks and this is what today's video is. As you guys had mentioned them in the comments, there was a couple that kept coming up. One was AR9 and the other was TNT. And as I started to dive into these, I noticed that I didn't really like them. They didn't really excite me because of where they were on the chart. Having said that, I dived further into cybersecurity and started looking at multiple different stocks and where the sector's at, and then into cybersecurity ETFs. So I've got a huge video for you guys. So I'm going to get through it as quick as I can because there are a lot of stocks to cover and a bit of information as well. With that said, let's dive into the video. If you're new here, be sure to subscribe for more content like this. I cover everything on Aussie stocks, US stocks, cryptocurrencies and economic market cycles because that's what I do on the everyday basis. You guys might think of me as a YouTuber because that's where you see me is on YouTube, but I make the bulk of my income from investing. So if my videos aren't up to scratch like every other YouTuber, that's because most of my money is made doing what I love to do. I also love YouTube, but if I'm making more income in my work that I love, then I don't have as much time to polish these videos up. I just want to try and get the content out to you guys as quick as I can. With that said, I still try to make improvements to the video where I can, and a big one is to try and reduce the ads that YouTube puts onto the videos. So what I've done here is make some of the videos premiere. So when you see them, they are live. I'm on the video live with you in the chat section, and with that you only get beginning ads and end ads. So beginning and end of the video, there's no mid-roll ads. So if you want to watch the videos ad-free, be sure to check out the premiere of the videos when I post them up. Now it's usually around a time that's suitable for most Aussies. It's like 6 to 7 p.m. I've looked at my stats and that's pretty much where people tend to watch these videos, around that dinner time area. So be sure to hit the subscribe and the notification bell, like up the video so you see this content on your feed come up, and enjoy the videos ad-free at the onset of the premiere. Let's check out cybersecurity stocks on the ASX. So I'm going to set the video out in a few different parts. I want to get through just a little bit of the fundamental information, and then I'll also add in some fundamentals as we check out the charts. So that's how I'm going to separate the video so you've got a bit of an idea of how we're going to progress through this. And then at the end, I'll give you a summary as per usual. So as normal, I also have all of the timestamps in the description down below if you want to skip to any part of the video, because looking at this, I have about 6+ stocks to get through. So let's not delay any further. This is the first thing I got here because I want to make some notes as to what we are trying to do when it comes to cybersecurities. Now, I think it's important to really learn to understand the sector, so get involved in it, understand what it is you're buying and why. I know that these are very easy to have a pump and dump on, but I think if you want to do something long term, then get the feel of it and get involved. What are the downfalls that could scare the market? So pretty much what are the areas of investing in this particular sector that could cause the market to have some sort of flash crash and potentially scare you out of your position? Identify those, that's a really important part. The next thing I got here is a SWOT analysis. So figure out the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats in the industry, because some of these stocks are purely just a pure play, meaning that this is all they do. So if you're investing in something that is so niche, there could be some potential threats down the road to that particular business. Now, the next thing is, could this be the start of a cybersecurity sector cycle? Now, what I mean by this is when we get through the charts, you can see a lot of these had a bit of a move up in around 2015 to 2016, if there's enough data. So many of these stocks kind of moved in unison and they took off around the same time. And then through those last several years from 2016, 17, 18, 19, they all fell pretty similarly. And if they came out, that they IPO'd in 2017, then they still followed that trend down. We don't know what their top price was in 2015 because they weren't out at that time, but they basically followed the trend down into early 2020 before it looks like some of them have started to take off. So I think that's important to understand where the stock is in its own particular cycle, and then that cycle within the market cycle itself. So let's move on to the next bit I have here. And basically, I mentioned earlier that we were looking at cybersecurity stocks, and I came up with an ETF for this. You guys may have seen it as well. It's Hack by BetaShares. And then if you go onto this site here from BetaShares and look at the symbol Hack, you'll see what the fund is invested in. From my quick analysis on this, so definitely dive more into this if you want something that's easier than buying every individual stock. Go and have a look at where these companies are set up, because I get a feeling these aren't Aussie companies. I'm pretty sure they're not. Obviously, you've got Cisco here, and as you look down here, the country allocation, well, I think that's pretty much telling us that most of the stocks and companies are in the United States, then Britain, Israel, Japan, and so on. That's the ETF. I know I've spent a bit of time on that, but it could be something to consider because it doesn't have the huge fluctuations like the rest of these cybersecurity stocks do have. So it's another consideration is all I'm saying here, and I'm just looking at beta shares on the Aussie exchange. All right, moving on to the next piece. Now, this is just all news items which I see push the market. So when these things happen, recent cyber attacks reveal opportunities for ASX investors. Everyone floods to cybersecurity stocks, right? So if you are seeing these news items, just be aware that maybe you're going to get a bit of a boom that day and then a fade off. Be aware of that. It's going to basically come up every time some sort of news article happens and potentially push the price of some of these cybersecurity stocks, which makes them extra volatile, which in some people's books calls them risky stocks. They'll call it risky because of the high fluctuation. Next thing I've got is stockhead.com.au. Now this article talks about the potential in the industry, which everyone loves to hear. When we put a number on something like, look, there's a potential to $183 billion opportunity, we just go, oh, if this company could only get 1% of this overall market share, it'd go to 180 million, and some of the companies are 9 million that we're going to look at here. That's a, 20x that you could get on this company if it only got 1%. So just be aware of that. It's, again, headlines to basically get you to click on, kind of like what these YouTube videos do with the thumbnails and the titles, which of course yours truly makes up. These are some of the stocks we're going to look at. Now with some of the fundamental information out of the way, let's go have a look at the charts. Here we are at the first stock, SEN, Senitas Corporation. You can let me know how you pronounce that. There are so many to pronounce. I'm probably going to get a few wrong. SEN, what do I like the look of here? It's been crushed. Guys, if you've been following this one, let me know what the hell this was about. Look as I scroll out. This thing was at 13 bucks, all the way up to $35, and now it's at 6 cents. How is that possible? Like we talked about in the original part of the video, I was talking about that these had a bit of a bull run through 2015, 2016. That's what I'm looking at here. This actually started in 2013 and spiked out in mid-2015 on SEN, and pretty much fell the whole way into the COVID lows. Now it's at a point that the volume has increased. I like that. There's a lot of history, so there could be a lot of resistance above from people who bought in at higher prices. I don't know if this one was a stock split, which caused the price to be all distorted and look a lot lower than it is. Someone let me know in the comments what potentially happened here. I know you guys have been pretty good with that in the past. You've let me know about a few other stocks which the history was a little bit out of whack, so that's pretty cool. I really appreciate that, and thank you. Could be very early in the new bull trend. That's what I'm seeing here. If I scroll in a little bit more, you can see here that there's 3 months. Yeah, these are monthly bars, so that's a lot of data just in one bar, right? There's at least sort of like 20 days in that one bar, and the volume's increased here. So I want to see this close above these levels of about 7 cents, and we're coming up to the end of August. So yeah, if we can get a close above that, I like this as a potential setup. It doesn't matter if we didn't get in at 4 cents, it's only at 6.5 now, with the potential to double, triple, whatever is going on here before it reaches its previous recent major high about 4 years ago. I think there'd be a lot of selling happening at that point, but that's to be expected, right? Because there probably were a lot of buyers who got suckered into that huge rally and then had to hold it for the last 4 years. SEN, potential setup here on one of these cyber stocks. I also look at this site, Simply Wall Street. I'm not sure if you guys use it. I think it's pretty nice overview and clean looking page to check out some of the summary with the company, and this gives you this little logo-y thing here to show you where it's all sitting, and then gives you some quick, basically one-liners, trading at 7% below its estimated fair value, risk analysis. Go through and have a look at this. I think if I spend the whole video going through every single one of these, it's going to be quite long, but it gives you a lot of data at your fingertips. Let's go have a look at the charts. And what would I do? Play a small position, big potential to super spike, because look at this spike here at 60 cents. If we got in here at 6-ish, super spiked again in a couple of years time, that's 10x. Maybe you guys want 10x tomorrow. If it takes a few years to get a 10x, that's not too bad. You know, you're beating the market pretty heavily in that sense. Definitely keep some tight stops below these recent lows at around 3.8 cents, because if that gets broken and then these get taken out, then you could be, you know, heading to zero. So keep it tight. It's nice because the risk is quite small. You know, the price between where this has potential to go and those low levels, you can basically keep your risk down pretty well. I like SEN. Next stock we're looking at is WHK. Spike up already. So that's what I'm seeing here on the chart. You can see that as well. I'm keeping the analysis pretty simple, and I get criticized for keeping it so simple because, I don't know, people want to see something complicated. Why the hell do we have to keep complicating everything when you can keep it simple? I don't know. I want everyone to win that's watching these videos. Like, that's obviously the purpose of it. This is what I'm looking at. This is all I'm sharing. If you see extra stuff, let us know in the comments. That's how you create a community. Enough of my rambling. Back to the White Hawk spike up, double top is at this point back here as well in February 2018. It's only a minor one, but it definitely came up, and I would definitely be paying attention to that price point of around 19 cents. I think maybe we'll rest here for a little bit. I want to see some consolidation here, then consider an entry. It is more of a trader's mindset as opposed to a dollar cost averaging investor's mindset, where you're just buying it any price, the same amount on a regular time interval. Best case scenario, I think this thing could come back to 10 cents because there's a lot of highs here, and that could be some sort of support. And then potentially there's another support here at around 14 cents. I definitely want to see some sort of consolidation after a huge move up before I consider an entry on White Hawk. Prophecy International Holdings Limited. Now you can see the support and resistance quite clearly. Keep it simple. We are currently at some resistance. Look at all of these. Here, here, kind of here, definitely here. This was support. Resistance, resistance, resistance. Oh, actually, I'll zoom in so you guys can see. I probably got my head in the way. It's now currently at a very critical point, which means if it can hold above this level, I think that's a pretty good setup for an entry at the lows. Look at these. I'm getting excited by this because it's not a chart that people have said, check this one out, it's so good. And it's something stupid that's just blown up 1,000%. This thing is still in early days. Trying to climb higher. This is the rest of my notes. Is there a lot of news? Would be better if not, because we don't want this to be out in the media and everyone talking about it just yet. Let's get us position set. But you want to know if the company is still doing well. Like, you don't want it to be a junk company and it's just people selling out. Like, you've got to figure that out as well before all the news media is out there. I think it'll break the highs at 90 cents eventually. So that's where we currently are at these previous double tops. What would I do? Small gamble with the support and resistance levels and just keep a tight stop on this. It's pretty much my trading plan for everything. The video is quite long, so be sure to use the timestamps down below if you want to skip between any of the stocks at any future date. Come back and review them. Keep this video in your watch list, and if you are finding any value from the video, give us a like down below and subscribe to the channel with the bell notification icon as well. VOR is up on the list. Double top that we can see here currently, right around that area. And this area, support at 20 cents could hold the market up if we see some sort of consolidation. Good support and resistance levels are showing signs of strength. So we're starting to build a bit of a foundation as we increase in market price. Relatively unknown. I don't think this stock is out there being talked about that much, and I like that as a potential entry. I want to be in before everyone's talking about it. This volume is pretty high on some of these bars in comparison to what we've seen over the last several years. So just be aware of that. If that's not people selling out, it's definitely people buying up. What would I do? Definitely put this on my watch list, do my fundamental research on the company as well, and prepare my trade entry. All right, next stock is TNT. And TNT is one of those stocks that everyone had been asking me to do. This plus AR9. And this, you can see, is slightly different to the rest of the cybersecurity stocks, and it's already had its pump over the last several weeks. If you got it in mid-July, then you're on board for this, I don't know, 100, 200% return. If you're not, then I'll be looking at areas for consolidation and support. And that's kind of this area at possibly 20 cents. If it doesn't hold at 20 with a tight stop, obviously if you're entering now, then be looking for support somewhere around that 10 to 15 cent range. And if that breaks, then obviously 4 cents down here. But I don't think that's going to happen if we're in the beginnings of a new bull market for the cybersecurity sector. It could just come back to consolidate before moving on again. So keep that in mind. That's TNT, the big one that a lot of people had asked for, plus AR9, which is another one that people have asked for, and you can see it's in a very similar pattern. As with these two, they have fallen from their initial entry points of 2016, and they came to a low in 2020, and now they've taken off again. You can see this is a very similar pattern in all of these. So AR9 came out in 2018, also fell away into 2020, and now took off. So it looks like we missed the initial breakout. Like, it doesn't take a genius to see that. Breakout was around this point back in June, so just a couple of months ago. Could find support at 30 to 50 cents, so that's somewhere down here because that's where the old highs were, and 50 cents is way up here. So that's a huge range, but that's the amount of data that we have for it, and it's big ranges, so that's what's to be expected. Consolidation would be healthy for the next move up. So I definitely want to see it start to move around this area and create a lot more time in this space, get used to these numbers of 30 to 50 cents, and then get ready for its move up. That's a healthy market. What would I do? Wait for the market to tell me what is happening next, be ready with my trading plan, and have my signals to enter. So these two are my least favorite out of the 6 of them, but there are a lot of good potentials in here. VOR potentially, PRO, white, maybe not as much, but it could be setting up. And then SEN. You just want to know what the hell this was all about. If you scroll out, you can't even see the data anymore. It's been crushed so badly. That's my 6 stocks. This video has gone so long, so I'm happy if you've stuck around this long. I'll give you the 2 stocks that I really like the look of for a potential huge gamble mega boom. First one is PSZ. Now this one is at a low of 3.5 cents, and the previous major low is about 1.5 cents. So you got a lot of room to move to the upside of old numbers of $1.10. That's crazy, right? If you had it at 3 cents. And the volume, look at this. The volume is really, really big. Nice little cup and handle type structure here. This one makes me excited for the potential of a big move up. And I'm just gonna leave that there. I think I've gone on long enough. Let's finish the video up. Let me know if you wanna see more of this stock, but that's it for the charts. Thanks for sticking with me through to the end of the video. I hope you found a shite ton load of value add of that video. Let me know in the comments down below what it is you guys are looking at, anything else you wanna see, and potentially if you're looking into cryptocurrencies. So with that said, I'll keep the outro nice and quick. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, all of the good stuff. It means a lot to the channel. Showing your support, that's the best way you can right now. I'll wrap it up there, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back with you for more ASX and cryptocurrency videos in the very near future. Until then, have a wonderful weekend and have more fun to get more done.